What is up guys, Fahan here. Welcome back to another Ultimate review. This is the review of the Honda ADV 350. Probably the most requested and the most anticipated. Alright guys, so welcome back to the city, or should I say the jungle of Medini. I think with the exception of over there, there's some buildings, but other than that, mostly clear streets and closed off roads. And here I have with me, wow, the holy grail of the bike review so far. This has been highly requested ever since it was launched, the Honda ADV 350. And I reckon that most of the riders, they're seeking comparisons between the ADV 350 and the X-Max, and believe me, I've tried both of them, and it's a stark contrast with each other lah. Really, it's a totally different bike. I thought that this is like a reskin Forza. I mean, they share the same engine, the same chassis, but it's very different. And I myself, I am pleasantly surprised by it and I am very impressed by it also. I've also done a review of the Piaggio XP400, so you guys can check that out. That bike is probably the closest competitor to the ADV 350. A bit of background about this particular bike though. This bike actually belongs to a friend of ours. He has kindly made the arrangements, including putting my name as a sub-rider on his insurance to ensure that I get a chance to basically review this bike. He rarely rides this bike also. I'm really thankful and heartened at our fans for helping us out lah. Okay, enough blabbling man, let's get the review started. Okay, so let's sit on the bike right now. Oh my god. Okay, at a weight of 186 kg, it's kind of light. Fuel tank is 11.7 liters with a projected consumption of 27 kilometers per liter. Pretty standard for a Class 2A if you ask me, but that's according to the spec sheet. From my experience, it's very fuel saving. Cannot believe it. Finally, I'm riding the ADV 350. Okay, so starting up, pretty straightforward. Make sure your transponder is in your pocket or near the bike. Okay, twist the ignition dial. You can hear the beeping sound and the LCD gauge cluster come to life. Okay, left brake in, start. The exhaust note is not really that interesting because it's quite soft, really similar to the Forza. I mean, they share the same engine, but the riding characteristics, the way this bike handles, is very different from any other scooter I've ever ridden. Let's start her up. Okay, so right off the get-go, right off the line, the acceleration, it's very quick. It's very fast. I'm really surprised by it. I mean, for a mid-range commuter scooter that you'd probably overlook, or maybe your personal feeling is that maybe the performance is just meh, but I'm pretty surprised with the ADV 350's performance. Off the line, low to mid-range, you can just whack the bike, gets up to speed pretty quickly, pick up acceleration damn good on it. And don't get me started on its handling. I mean, it's probably the best on any automatic scooter I've ever ridden on. I'm pleasantly surprised actually. It doesn't handle like a typical scooter at all. I mean, if you have ridden a scooter, when you're riding it, you may feel a bit boaty, like you tend to like sway left and right lah. I've ridden a lot of scooters, and to describe the handling on the ADV 350 is very different. It feels much more like a motorcycle, and it just takes in the corner very well. Like tight corners, U-turns, wow, it's very easy. And I'm very impressed with the bike on its handling. It's a very easy, comfortable handling bike. No effort. When you hop on it for the first time, there's really no learning curve at all, which is why I say that this is probably the best handling scooter ever. Seriously, like I've tested a lot of scooters, like from the Piaggio XP400, X-Max, even the Forza. Nothing else comes close. I tell you guys, if there's a demo bike or a rental bike for you to try, you should try. Seriously man, like I can corner or make turns effortlessly. Oh my gosh, And the acceleration, the pickup is just wonderful. And the twist of the throttle, wow, look at this, it gets up to speed pretty quickly. Okay, so once again, let's do a U-turn right here. Traffic lights don't seem to be functioning. Gosh, doing a U-turn like that, oh my god, effortless, man. I'm not even putting my feet on the ground. It's just that easy. I think if you're a delivery rider, you want something that's agile, that is great handling. You can negotiate those tight turns and bends aggressively with it.
Launched in early 2022 with much anticipation and fanfare, the Honda ADV 350 is a mid-range automatic scooter with premium features. Honda marketed the ADV 350 as an urban adventurer with comfort and versatility. Designed by Honda Italy and made in Thailand, the ADV 350 styling is heavily inspired by the ever-popular XADV. Targeted for the European market, the ADV 350 is meant to be a step up from the 125cc scooters, but with the performance of a typical mid-range motorcycle. Engine is at 330cc, look at cool 4-stroke 4-valve single-cylinder SOHC with electronic fuel injection and an automatic CVT transmission. Alright guys, so before we begin with the static review, we just want to give you guys a bit of background on the ADV 350. As you guys know, the ADV 350 shares its chassis and engine with the Forza 350, and for a long time both the Forza and the ADV has cross-shared platforms, with the Forza mostly being a road bike while the ADV is marketed as an adventure scooter. Most of the reviewers, however, they describe the ADV 350 as more of a commuter scooter with the ability to go long distances. So as usual, we're going to start off with the riding posture. Okay, so sitting on this bike right now, as you can see, I'm 165 and the ride height of 76.4 cm. I'm tiptoeing, well, I don't know, slightly, but considerably also lah. But this particular seat, as you can see, is actually an aftermarket seat, has been reduced to 1.5 cm shorter, but still is, I'm tiptoeing considerably, but I think this is due to the bike's wide nature lah, and there's also crash guards fitted on the sides over here. For me, I think no issue when riding. Definitely need to get used to it lah. And not only that, this bike is also kind of light at 186 kg. I think vertically challenged riders will have no issues in handling this bike. Okay, so when you sit on the bike like this, as you can see, it's a typical scooter riding position. You're sitting upright, okay, feet folded in quite a bit, arms stretched out. You got nice, long, flat handlebars for you to grip on the handlebar properly. You got a commanding view of the road. But after riding it for a while, as usual, for scooter riders especially, you're gonna hunch your back, so do straighten your back from time to time. Honestly speaking, after riding for quite some time with it, I didn't suffer for any butt aches, back aches, or feel tired on it. It's a very nice and comfortable ride. I think long distance tourists will really appreciate how comfortable this bike is. And up next we come to the design of the ADV 350, and I have to say that in general, when you look at it, it's slightly huge than what a scooter is typically be, but I think this is due to the chunky bodywork. And speaking of bodywork, obviously from the general outlook, the design, the styling of the ADV 350 is why it's becoming very, very popular all over the world. Overall, it has Honda's ADV styling and features, bringing the ADV 350 into the family. The front resembles the ADV 160, especially at the headlights with the daytime running lights at the sides. Large, chunky bodywork, angular lines match the second-gen XADV. Handguards come as standard, but as you can see, the owner has put some decals on it to personalize his bike. Overall, its brawny and adventure appearance sets the standards for all the adventure scooters that follow lah. Few that I can name off: Kymco DTX 360, Peugeot XP400, the W Motors ADV 250. So basically all of the other manufacturers, they are inspired by the ADV, XADV styling lah. Just to be clear, despite its adventure styling and slightly higher suspension, the ADV 350 is never meant to be a heavy off-road scooter lah. Honda has always marketed the ADV 350 as an urban adventurer. And you can tell from its lack of off-road features. We got cast aluminum rims instead of spoke, but when you look at it from a certain angle, there's the illusion of spoked rims in its design. But you can do some light off-roading thanks to its semi-off-road tires and slightly taller riding suspension. Maybe I reckon light gravel, but I reckon that most ADV 350 owners won't be bringing the bikes off-road anyway. Similar to XADV and GS riders that will bring this out for a Starbucks. So up next we come to the handlebar controls, handlebar and gauge cluster. Let's talk about the handlebar first. It's a nice flat wide handlebar, no plastic cladding as with most of the scooters. So it makes it much easier for you to mount accessories like handphone holder, Insta360, IU unit. But in the case for this bike, the owner has mounted his IU unit above the gauge cluster over here. I like the pale bronze color of the handlebar over here. It has a premium look to it. For the handlebar controls, for the left side, it looks like a nice ADV kind of setup. But for the right side, it's from the Honda parts bin. So it's like really empty over here, but really full of features over there. So it's like not matching. And I like the squarish appearance, gives it a nice, rugged, adventure kind of look to it. But Honda, please lah, the right side, so plain. It's like you just take from the parts bin and then you just put. While the left side is so nice. Okay, so for the features, okay, we got the HSTC button, the traction control button. Below it is the horn. To the right, we got the functions button above to make adjustments to the gauge cluster, in which you want to toggle the time, and then to control the other displays of the gauge cluster, there's this PlayStation style up, down, left, right button. We got the signal, we got horn, and above that we got the high beam, low beam, and passing light. To the right over here, picked from the Honda parts bin, we got the engine kill switch and the starter. Okay, so basically to turn on the bike, there's this ignition dial right below. Press in, click to the 1, and you can see the LCD gauge cluster coming to life. For this sort of bike in which there's not much features, it's more than enough for you. Okay, the interface is obviously matched from the ADV 160 and the second gen XADV. We got the time above here, and to the left we got the traction control, whether it's activated or not, the tachometer, the speedometer in the center, and below it is fuel gauge. And currently being displayed right now is a voltmeter, average fuel consumption, and odometer. Okay, so to toggle, once again, use the PlayStation style buttons to toggle. So the voltmeter, if you turn left or right, it switches to the temperature gauge and back to the voltmeter. To the center, average consumption A, average consumption B, elapsed A, elapsed B, and back to average consumption A. So below that, we got the odometer, range, trip A, trip B, and back to the odometer. Wow, suddenly the whole neighborhood is like so noisy, so distracted all the time. Okay, so as with a scooter, you can definitely expect the riding technology and conveniences that come with it lah. Okay, so just to list some of the riding tech that's featured over here. Okay, we got a keyless transponder, full LED lighting around, LCD gauge cluster, dual channel ABS paired with Nissin brake calipers, suspension by Showa, telescopic inverted forks paired with dual shocks in the rear, a USB-C port in the storage cubby, and Honda selectable top control, which is basically traction control in Honda's fancy terms. The riding tech is not as impressive as some of the other automatic scooters out there, particularly maybe Zontes or Peugeot scooters. It's basic, it's standard, and I think it's more than enough. It doesn't feel gimmicky at all, and I think for this scooter, is more than enough. So as with a scooter, you can definitely expect storage. Okay, so we got a storage cubby right in front here. Okay, just press, open. It's quite small, not so deep, but you can fit an amount of stuff in there. Passport, handphone, no issue. And the USB-A port is located over here, so you can charge your devices on the go. So let's talk about the underseat storage. So on the underseat storage, let's open her up. Whew. I have to say that it's quite huge, 48 liters compared to 22 liters on the Forza. Can fit 2 helmets, and there's also a divider, and you can divide up the under seat storage accordingly to your liking. There's 2 adjustments you can make. Supposedly there is a USB-A port under here according to some reviews online, but I did not find any USB-A port at all. But I think if you're like going long distance, or if generally you like to keep stuff in your bike, you can really appreciate the amount of storage space in here lah. It's very huge. And additionally, the windshield is also manually adjustable. But for this particular bike, because it's being fitted with Puig aftermarket windshield, you cannot adjust so much lah, because of the IU unit that's fitted on top of the gauge cluster over here. But you can see that it's the same formula as the rest of the ADV series. The way it's adjusted is just a manual adjustment. Let me try. I see. But you cannot go lower than that because of the IU blocking the way. But it's still adjustable. Being manufactured in Thailand and sold all over the world, there's no shortage of accessories for the ADV 350 lah. You can basically do anything and everything you want to it, and it's really proven with this particular bike lah. As you can see, the owner has made some cosmetic modifications to his bike, including the seat, the decals, the windscreen, crash bar, and even the side steps. Right guys, so up next we come to the colors. So for this particular bike, this color is called Matte Dahlia Red Metallic. We got a Matte Grey Metallic and the Premium Silver Metallic. A very plain choice of colors, almost like the X-Max. So far, the ADV 350 has no graphics from the factory. Unlike the 750 and the 160, maybe future releases down the road, they may come out with more attractive colors or more graphics on the bodywork lah. Maybe, but so far I'm not digging this plain, boring colors. But I really like the red color though, even though it's kind of bland, but it pops in traffic. And finally, let's talk price. So the official dealer, as usual, they're not consulted for this particular review of the ADV 350, but according to Carousel listings from bike shops, the machine price is listed as 17,888. We got another listing listed for COE at 27,800. In Malaysia, it's rumored to be launching in late 2023, but so far there's really no concrete news yet, and its estimated price is 32,000 to 36,000 ringgit.
And in terms of the performance, the balance between performance and handling, it really complements each other. Like, it's not too powerful, but it's not too sluggish either. It's just right. You don't really need to be too aggressive with it and milk the hell out of the thing to get up to speed. And at the same time, when you just want to be in the speed limit 50 kilometers per hour, you can just chill. The bike doesn't make you want to go fast or make you want to go slow. It's very neutral, and because of that, city riding, no issues. It doesn't feel too powerful, neither does it feel like the performance is lacking. The handling and the performance really complements each other on it. And when you want to get aggressive on it, you can just twist the throttle. And the ADV 350 accomplishes this without any riding modes. So speaking of riding modes, one of the added features that Honda has added in most of their bikes nowadays is traction control. 2-stage traction control, I think, is an awesome safety feature. Like when you're negotiating a corner, maybe you feel as if you're going to lose control of the bike, the traction control is definitely going to help you mitigate that lah. And you can turn it off also, like you want to do some light off-roading or off the beaten path situations, you can turn off the traction control so that it doesn't hinder you. Unfortunately, you cannot turn off the ABS. Dual channel ABS comes standard. Okay, now getting a bit aggressive with it. Okay, and let's just stop. Brakes on a dime, very easy. And I have to say that the riding posture, I really love it. Sitting upright and with the nice view of the cockpit, also not too interrupted, gives you a nice commanding view of the road. It's a really nice cockpit, guys. Everything, your hands on the riding controls, the ignition dial, is all within your reach. Oh my gosh, guys, I'm having the time of my life with this ADV 350. riding it for 5 days now, and honestly, I'm finding it difficult to part ways with it. And I feel really confident just taking in the tight corners, negotiating bends aggressively. Okay, so that's enough city traffic for now. We're gonna get on the highway now, but I just cannot get enough with riding this bike. The bends and corners, I mean, the fun factor is definitely there. This bike just makes you want to go riding all day long, and I've been riding a lot too. Oh, and I forgot to talk about this. The suspension, surprisingly, despite it being set up similarly to almost all of the other automatic scooters out there, the suspension is very good also. It really absorbs most of the road bumps and imperfections. It just dampens out all of the bumps that it goes through. I'm amazed actually. It feels very similar to the Peugeot XP400, but the Peugeot uses a monoshock design with a crossplane setup similar to dirt bikes. But for the ADV 350, despite using a conventional setup as with any other automatic scooter, I'm surprised that it's able to dampen out all the road bumps and imperfections. Even when you're going through humps, it's like it takes in a lot of the impact. Wow, we got a huge police escort over there. Don't know what's going on. Whoa. Okay, so we got a bunch of regulators over here. Wow, oh my god, just going through it, it really takes in a lot of the impact. So it provides you that nice comfortable ride. And everywhere I go, I'm getting a lot of stares. Like just yesterday, I was at a gas station and this rider approached me. Wow, ADV 350. I mean, I wish it's here in Malaysia. And in Malaysia, despite the hoo-ha and rumours that's gonna come out in 2023, it's still not released yet. None of the dealers have brought it in also. So some of them are really anxiously waiting. I mean, they already got the ADV 160 and the XADV. Why not bring in the ADV 350? It only makes sense. You know, I think it's gonna be a great competitor to the X-Max. And if it wasn't for the price, wow, I think all of the riders would come flocking to buy the ADV 350. Somehow with Singapore, with the high prices of motorbikes, wow, that's a double whammy, man. That's really a letdown. More riders should ride this bike. Okay, so in the highway now, let's whack her a bit. Oh my gosh, gets up to speed pretty quickly. The acceleration is really good. I'm surprised that for a mid-range scooter it's able to accomplish all this. Okay, the top end doesn't do too well, but I mean, it's not the kind of bike you want to go really fast in, you know. 138, I'm able to do the best on it. But I think a few days back I did 140 with it. Maybe it's because the wind isn't that strong on that day. And I have to say, at the high speeds, it's very stable. You can feel the grip on the tires. I mean, that's just it lah. The handling, the grip, the performance is all equally balanced on the ADV 350. I'm really having such praises for this ADV 350. Honestly speaking, I wish I owned this bike right now. Running long distance with it, going touring with it, it's gonna be an awesome tourer. Large underseat storage. I mean, I don't feel tired riding it around yesterday when I was out and about with it. My bum doesn't ache, and I enjoy every second of my ride with the ADV 350. Wow, seriously guys, if you are a class 2A rider and you want to consider the X-Max, I think for a bit more you can consider the ADV 350. It's really an awesome bike.
Okay guys, so I've had the ADV 350 for like 5 days now, And I have to say that as a guy who has tested a lot of bikes, a lot of scooters, the ADV is right now, for now at least, is number one on my list for probably the best Class 2A scooter. Handling is probably the best. Feels much more like a motorcycle as opposed to a scooter, in which scooters tend to be a bit sporty. Very nimble, very agile. No issues with tight bends or aggressive lean angles. And I feel that I can even go down even more on this bike, but sometimes I don't dare to do it lah. Of course, suspension is really awesome on the ADV 350. Scooters usually have bad suspension, and this is due to the smaller wheels and low travel suspension. But in the case of the ADV 350, despite its firm suspension setup, the shocks dampen out all of the bumps and road imperfections, even when you're going through tall humps, and is very comparable to the Peugeot XP400. Performance is also I like to highlight on the ADV 350, at least for a Class 2A scooter. Its initial pickup and low to mid-range torque is awesome. Gets up to speed pretty quickly, and if you ask me, it's great for highway riding and long distance touring. Similar to the older brother, the XADV, the ADV 350 really behaves much more like a motorcycle than a scooter. But of course, it has the conveniences of a scooter, huge under-seat storage, very versatile, automatic transmission, feels well balanced with its performance and handling complementing each other, and overall is a great all-rounder if you ask me. As for the shortcomings, it's a bit that expensive, okay? For its price at $27,000, it can put off some riders to buy it. Heck, is the main reason why rental companies haven't been getting the ADV 350 in their fleets lah, because the high prices for the bikes. You know, I mean, for this price, you can probably get a Class 2 bike, you know, a second-hand Class 2 bike and put it up for rent. And for 5k less, you can get X-Max instead. Honda has always put a premium price tag on the ADV series of bikes, regardless ADV 160 or the XADV. So you can consider other offerings from Kymco, Peugeot, and even WMoto XDV 250, which may probably be cheaper than the ADV 350, but nothing beats the Honda nameplate that's supposedly known for its build quality and resale value. Branding really plays a part. My personal opinion, Class 2A riders, veteran riders who are looking to downgrade, anybody who is a fan of the ADV series, the ADV 350 is probably the bike for you. So once again, huge thanks to our fan for loaning me this bike for the review. I think without him, I couldn't get an ADV 350 to review lah. So that's it for the vlog, and we'll see you in the next one.